Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arundel.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Sydney.
How are you?
I'm good.
You had an appointment today.
I did. I had an appointment at the dentist, my 6-month teeth cleaning. And as you know, the dentist is...
Your favorite place.
I know. I'm sorry if there's any dentist, hygienists out there.
Yeah.
Had a bad experience as a child that never left me. But no, and I also had teeth that
are
just
horrible.
Are awful. I'm so glad you and Lauren got your dad's.
I know, because I think it's genetic. It really
is.
Yeah.
My teeth, I have crown on every tooth just about. And so every time I go, I'm just like waiting.
Yeah. To see.
I can't have any more cavities, I don't think. But they go, well, this crown, we're just watching. So, everything was good today. So it was good, except for the hygienist who really is good. Nice. But today, somehow the water got away from her. And so she's working on me and the water's like dripping down onto my collar and down my neck. And then she suddenly sees it and I'm like, okay.
That is so funny.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. I know some hygienists talk too much. I'm like, I literally have all this crap in my mouth. Please just stop asking questions.
Yes, yeah. Or the opposite, where they don't ask questions, but they just will talk and tell you more than you want to know. But
I much prefer hygienists. Truly, I've had one before where we say hi and then we really don't say anything else to each other. It's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe the good ones, not the good hygienists,
I know.
but the ones that I take kind of a cue. How much are you talking? If you're not, you're not. We visited at the beginning. Hello, said a few things, and then she went to work. And
you don't need to say anything else.
I sat there with my mouth open, and I hate every bit of it. Every bit, from the pick in your teeth,
really,
then the
the little
floss,
and then they do the thing with the toothbrush.
That is the worst.
Oh my god!
Because my mouth just starts salivating.
You just hate all the senses.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
That's
because I don't mind some of it. I mind.
And then when I leave, I'm teeth feel good. But to get there was not.
Yeah, no, not fun.
That's just my own. I think it is the sensory thing.
Yeah, I know. I have an appointment coming up, I think in a few weeks. So.
Yeah, I know. You and Dad just love the dentist. That's good for y'all.
Good for us.
You don't have a cavity.
It's so funny. Okay, so we're so this month, it's like kind of holiday stuff, it's a freewheeling month.
It's a freewheeling.
But this one is a little bit holiday related, but we won't necessarily stick to how it relates to holidays.
Right.
So our topic is materialism, consumerism, whatever you want to call that.
Not enoughness.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that
causes us. Right.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what our topic is. And it is related to holidays because that's whenever the topic, a lot of times, of gifts and things and all that come into play. But we'll kind of talk about it in a general sense.
Okay.
Mostly, I think. So materialism, I was kind of reading a little bit and it's like, it really has just this negative connotation. Like when people hear the word, they don't think happy, positive things. They generally think negatively. And it tends to be because the people associated with it tend to be a little more self-centered or at least worried. It's like the idea of being worried about things is looked down upon, but then you're supposed to have things. It's a weird society we live in, right?
Yes. Well,
it's
the commercials tell us what we need.
Yeah, that's true too.
Or the TikTok, whatever we watch.
So let's talk about how it outwardly appears, and then we can talk about its inward ties, which you have a lot of comments on. So outwardly, this material and consumerism would be you need to have a new house, you need to have a new car, you need to have
the right clothes, the right shoes, there's a lot of acquiring.
Yes. And the right vacations, the right experiences, the right, it's like you have to have all these things. And your kids then have to wear the right kids' clothes,
Yeah.
have to have the right toys, have to, you know, it's like, yeah.
There's the peer pressure.
Yeah.
I think of what society, you know, when you look and you say, everything makes you feel good. Everything makes you happy, healthier, go on and on and on with that, right? And that is, it's like when are you satisfied?
Yes.
And for how long?
Yeah. I know, because so many of those things are like very short-lived.
Yeah, they can't make you
yeah
happy like they say.
Yeah. So let's talk inward. So we have all these outward things that we feel like we got to get, we got to have. What is the inward tie?
Oh, okay. So the inward tie, I've been reading some things, and one of the articles talks about the
cravings, right? Yeah.
But I'm not real as keen on that. But it's the wanting, always wanting. It's an immediate. I want this. I want this. I think we confuse our wants and our needs.
Yeah.
With that, and there's always. We think that, I'm sorry, I got something in my eye too. Being content with what we have can lead us to happiness.
Yeah.
Realizing what we have. I think we forget what we have when we look out there and see what we don't have.
Yeah.
And then we get something and we're content in the moment. And that new laptop I get is only new for a very brief time because... The new one, the next one comes out, the faster one comes out, and there's always the next best.
Yeah.
And I think that when we're looking outward like that, we're thinking anytime we're looking outward to fill a void that's inward, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the voids that we're trying to fill are inner. And I can remember thinking about getting clothes. That was my thing.
Yes.
I would buy clothes like I needed a new wardrobe when I didn't. And finally I asked myself through a series of things that came up going, and then I had credit card debt because I bought these clothes. And then I had this to pay off. And it was like, so what is it that I'm trying to fill?
Yeah. Why do I
feel like I need these clothes when I have some decent ones hanging around in the closet? What is it? And what did I feel satisfied about for 10 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it was? And to look inward instead of just outward.
Yeah. I'm going to get personal and say the reason, because I know the reason why you did that.
Yes, one of the clothing thing. Yeah.
Yes, is because Oma, or my grandma, never let you buy new clothes. You had to buy sale clothes, or
they were new, but I could only look
buy
on
from
the sale rack.
Yes. Which, I mean, is very hit and miss.
Which is hit and miss. and I can remember seeing things on the other racks, and I'd look at it, and she said, well, then you can just have that one outfit. Well, maybe I just wanted that one outfit. But then again, she wouldn't really let me buy it.
Yeah.
And you had these, and part of it is this, it wasn't because we didn't have the money.
Right.
It was because of our frugalness, which is good.
It's good to do
some of that. But it was that, and so I always did not feel good in my clothes.
Yeah, because if they're from the sale rack, they may not fit the right way. They may not be exactly what you want.
This is what you had to have. This is and
so then
I just
later
never felt good. So later I would try to feel good with my clothes. And I have since learned it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You
want good clothes, but you don't need all of them.
No, but and once I realized why I was buying them, then I stop and I second guess myself and go, do you really, and can you wait? And so that really helped.
Definitely.
And there's two aspects of it. There's a book called by Michael Easter. He wrote. It's called Scarcity Brain.
Okay.
And he comes from a I think there's spiritual and there's psychological.
Yeah.
And he looks at it from that.
Psychological aspect?
Yes,
okay.
It really is interesting. One of the things he writes is permanent and lasting satisfaction lies in finding enough. Our brains are made because of
evolution.
our genetic. We are made to have scarcity brains. What did the early
they didn't know where their next food was coming from or water
constantly
or anything,
looking for food, constantly getting enough and more and more. Well, that's imprinted on us. But if we can look at that and know that, and he lists in there ways to help to recognize it, and he's traveled the world and talked to various psychologists all over the world to talk about this, right? And one of the things he said, and I thought this was interesting, for me, enough is simply feeling more engaged and focused on longer-term goals that I deem more meaningful. And I thought about that, and this is one of the simplest things way back when I first started working, when VCRs were a thing. I didn't have one, and I wanted one.
Yeah.
But I didn't go out and charge it.
Oh.
I waited, and
Until you
I can
saved up the
remember
money.
that feeling of saving, and it wasn't this, I gotta have it. It was like, this is really cool to have this goal.
Yeah.
And save, I think it was $125. But I'm telling you, that was a bunch
That was big then.
That was big, It was around other things I was, working
paying
at.
for, yeah.
And so it was really huge. And I thought, that was a simple one. But when we think about that, and we, I know that was my vacation goal whenever we'd vacation was
to already have it paid off.
We'd work toward it.
Yeah.
So that we just enjoyed it.
And then you don't have all
later.
Yeah.
And there were different things, and it wasn't immediate.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was something you worked for.
Yeah.
And that would definitely engage your brain in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
And there just isn't an external thing. I don't want to do medical stuff, but there isn't an internal thing that's going to fill that void that we feel. Yeah. Why that I'm feeling like I don't look good in clothes because of that. Well, let's examine that.
Yes.
Look inward, Kelly.
Yeah.
And whatever I wear, whenever I go, I'm going to be me. Mm-hmm. And people are going to interact with me the way they interact with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to have a good time if I choose to have a good time. That type of thing. I just...
Yes. Yeah.
That's a simple example.
Yeah. But it's... Yeah. And it's... Okay. And I feel like... So we talk about the things, and we talk about... Which is a big... I mean, I think for a lot of people...
Right.
It's a big thing. Acquiring, looking like you have, what you need. And then there's also, cravings for... success, right? Like what we think success is, whether that's, I just have to have this job, and then I need to make sure I get up to the next job and this job, and then, or there's success in I haven't, met anybody yet, or there's success in, I haven't had a kid yet. There's, it's like all of these outward markers of success that just, I think too, people can feel like they have to accumulate
to get right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not...
And again, but those are, again, I think outward successes.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and there's nothing wrong with success.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with acquiring some things. But what is the motive? What is your reasoning?
How consuming is it of your life? It's
I think it's interesting because Paul has always set goals.
Yes.
For his career and other things. And one of the things that he has said again and again, I know what I have to offer. So it's this, he wants to offer and contribute.
Yeah.
And whatever comes with that.
Yeah.
It's not that he's ignoring that. He wants that too.
No, he wants that too, yeah.
But it's, what do I have to offer?
It's the motive, yeah.
Is the motive. And ethics are involved.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of things that come into play about what success is. And then you get that, and then what?
So was it hard for you? So you had, I think for you, this outward success of being a good youth leader, you had this outward success of running adult ministries and doing all that. And then eventually, and it's not just with kids, because you were still working part-time and doing what you, but then we eventually moved and you didn't have anything. And I know we've talked about before, it's when people ask what you do, it's hard. But beyond that, that outward look of success of I have a job and I'm doing things.
I'm productive, I'm contributing to society.
Was that really hard?
It was. Yeah. It was, because you act like I felt like I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
as much. But it also, I turned it around to go, okay, you have this time to examine, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? How are you going to contribute? Not everybody has this luxury at this moment, Kelly. Take it.
That's
Utilize
true.
it.
And then you really did, and give it
And
a few years later, and
Yeah.
you really pulled on it. And
yeah.
then even when we moved again, you used it to
Used
like
it
reach
again.
out to the community and all, you know?
Yeah. And there are times, and I'll be honest, I'll look at others and go, wow, look what they're doing. And Kelly, what are you doing? And we all compare ourselves, and it's hard. And then I have to ask myself the question, okay, Kelly, you can do something. Do you want to have the commitment of an everyday at this time in your life?
That's really hard with kids.
I'm at
probably
a retirement stage, and I have some freedoms to caretake and do some other things. Okay, no, okay, you answered one of those questions.
Yeah.
Do you really want to do what they're doing? No, that's not your gift. Okay, so what are you jealous of? What are you not fulfilled in? You better look internally and figure that out. I know what I need. Yeah. I'm wanting to make a difference in my community, and I need to find another spot to go do that in.
Yeah.
And so I search, and I think I'm finding something. I may fill you in on that down the road. So, but there are some things.
Yeah.
And bottom line is
has it become like a reflex for you? Like if you start feeling this like craving, or you're just like, immediately.
Yes. Pretty much.
But it's taken a while to get there.
A long time. A long time. And I still fall into the trap to look and go, and then when I do the opposite of that, is when, and I will say that, backtrack, when I first moved and started working and had an apartment, there was nothing in my apartment that wasn't used, borrowed, whatever it was.
Yes.
I don't think I purchased a new thing. Somehow I got this stuff from people and nothing matched, and it the ugliest green couch lime green couch you've ever seen. And so, but I had all that.
Yeah. You're just
I was content. I was happy. I was satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have more than we had then.
Oh, yeah.
And I remind myself periodically that if I didn't have this and I couldn't take a trip when I wanted to or do something, I still would be happy.
Yeah.
As happy. Because it's not those things, it's the relationships.
Yeah.
That make the difference.
Definitely.
Yeah. So,
and I feel
the opposite of that is sometimes when I do get something.
Yeah.
I think that is really ridiculous. Yeah. I have that problem, don't I?
You do.
I really do. And
oh man.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's like it's balance.
Yes, and thank you. That's the word.
It's balance.
That I think is the key to this. It's constant. It's balancing everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, now that we get into a practical word, let's talk about like practical things to kind of help release that feeling, that craving, how to let go of it. So whenever we were talking before the podcast, you were talking a lot about exploring the feeling, and you've kind of mentioned that some here. It's like sitting with it.
Sitting with that uncomfortable of what is it that's, and it's so different for every person. So there's not this one thing. But it is asking the question, what void am I trying to fill? Sometimes it's loneliness. Yeah. Sometimes it's boredom.
That's a good one.
It's boredom. So I'm going to look online. I'm going to see what I don't have and gather it.
Yes.
And then I'll have this credit that I'm going to have to pay off.
Right.
I don't think of that right away, right?
I know.
But it's thinking that whole thing. And I know I've probably told you and told Lauren too about when you're wanting something, wait a week.
Yes. And then see
if you really need it, or if you really want it still, if it's worth that money that you're wanting to spend, whatever, to give it time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that craving may pass.
Yeah.
If that's really not how I want to spend my money. Yeah. I really don't need that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting something that you don't need.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
There's this different... I think that the part of it where it just kind of consumes and controls you.
That's when it gets to be too much.
Comparing to what other people have and what they don't. And you know.
And I think, so going into like this so I'm going to type back holiday time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't control what you get, and you'll get whatever. But when it comes to, I think with the holidays, there's this other materialism in the sense of, well, I have to show that I can afford buying all of these people get,
Yes.
It's like this sense, that type of showing, that type of success. And so I think to combat that, I mean, it depends on who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with kids, they just want things. They just want a lot of things. When it comes to adults, sometimes just like one thoughtful gift is plenty. You don't need to be, it's like kind of think through how much does this person need? How many knickknacks does one person need?
Right.
I hate knickknacks.
I hate dusting.
Hate them.
Yes.
That's just me. Maybe there's an experience you can agree to do with your friends instead.
I love that
idea. Maybe writing a note to somebody is much more meaningful. It's like you can find other ways to give a gift. And the thing is, if somebody judges you for whatever gift you give them, that is a very much them problem.
It's about them.
They've got other issues.
Yes.
You can just put your best foot forward in thinking of the other person and what might be useful or meaningful to them.
It does. And, I think within families and even friends, you can set limits.
Yes.
To go, and every year is different. Mm-hmm. Because
some years you can do more,
we just have more for whatever reason, and it's like, but to be able to set and go, okay, this is the limit because this is enough.
Yeah.
This is enough. And for those of you who bake and do things like that,
good, because then you can just...
Y'all are so lucky. I know that, but that costs too.
Oh, it does, because you got
to
cost for all the supplies and stuff, for sure. And time.
And time. But that's the gift, right? Mm-hmm. And so...
I so appreciate anybody baking me scones or bread or whatever.
It's just great. And so, I think putting that limit on there...
Yeah.
And going, this is that. And there's no shame in any of that. There's no shame in any of that.
Yeah, so I think just like not getting yourself caught up in... I have to show up in this certain way. I have to show out and do. You don't.
Yeah. And
you really don't.
And the clothes that you have to wear to parties.
Wear the same outfit.
Because,
yes.
I've gotten stuff and thinking, I'm going to feel better.
And you never wear it. No.
And then if it's not practical, I don't wear it again. Or I buy it and I know that more than once I've ended up sick.
I can't go to the party.
Yeah. Or one of the kids got sick.
Yeah,
and I didn't
too.
get to go. And it was like, well, that was a waste of my money. Mm-hmm. Whether I wore it again or took
or
it
not, who knows?
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah. And I think like something like this is just going to it takes time. I mean, so how old were you whenever you kind of first, because the clothing thing was probably the first time you really noticed
hit me, because of the bill.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. Can't do this anymore.
And then,
how old were you?
I was late 20s.
Late 20s, okay.
Early 30s, something like that.
And now it's like decades later. And,
I know.
And now you have the, reflex.
I do. I have more of that. I still have to watch it because next thing you get me on a couple of those websites.
For what?
Clothing.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Get lost in it. And it's
I know. Nordstrom Rack.
Nordstrom. Anthropologie.
I know. Yes. And then you
Rag and Bone.
Yes.
Whatever the heck that.
They have great t-shirts.
They have great t-shirts.
I know.
And jeans.
The expensive ones.
But I wear them for years.
Oh, I know. That's the other thing.
But, it is balancing.
Yes.
It is balancing and just seeing myself get caught up.
Yeah.
And stop. But it was in the early, because it was like, I hate debt.
Yes.
I know
there's some other motivating factor, which is good.
Maybe I can say it's long-term goals of saving and looking towards something rather than this instant, I see it now. And whatever you get on, because I don't do TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever they show.
On like Instagram and Facebook.
All those things, you get it today and tomorrow they're showing something else that you need.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's not enough. And that, and I think about that.
Yes.
And I think about concerts are so different.
Oh, yeah.
The availability, the want to go.
Oh, yes.
$25. I saw, well, y'all don't know, but Linda Ronstadt, Styx.
Yes.
Jackson Brown.
For like nothing.
Great.
Yeah.
And nothing. And now the pressure for a parent.
Yes, to
fulfill their kid's wish to go to, and I'm just going to use this because it's the most current that I know, to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Put you in debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you can fulfill this dream. And it's not a slam because I did that for Miley Cyrus.
Oh, yes, you sure did.
When she was Hannah Montana.
You sure did.
And it's just like.
But yeah.
Wow.
It's that pressure too. It's
and
everywhere.
It's a beautiful experience that we had.
Oh yeah, I still remember it to this day.
Right.
But it's like at the time, it's still a stressor, and it's still peer pressure and all that.
And just that to go.
Yeah, and working through that. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a process that takes time. But, like with a lot of things that we've said on this podcast, if you take one little step at just, catching yourself.
Yeah. I buy one less t-shirt. I buy one less, it's that awareness.
Yes.
Of going, why? And if I'm filling a void, let me look inside and see what I'm really needing.
Yeah.
Is it to reach out to do friends? Is it that I really just need to get out and walk?
Yeah.
And be outside? Is it that I'm bored, so I'm looking?
Maybe I read a book instead.
Because see now, I mean, I used to have to go to the store. Right now, you just get online, and it's that much easier to buy and get caught up and sit there and scroll and scroll and.
It is. It's way easier.
Yeah, but I would
Yes, resources.
I have done this before. I've used this book before. Living from the Center. Spirituality in the Age of Consumerism. This comes from the spiritual aspect. The Scarcity Brain is the comes from more of a psychological thing, that point of view. I'm just looking to see if there's anything. I love this. Okay, this is a good quote.
Okay.
Or toward the end.
Yeah.
True freedom is in exploring the craving itself and seeing and feeling what is on the other side of that craving. We can free ourselves from the need to fill that void, get whatever it is we're craving.
Yeah.
If we know what's on the other side of why we are. And I think that's freedom to live that way and just recognize. So now when I know I'm going to go on I feel the need to go on a clothing binge, I can look at the other side and go, oh, but you really don't. But those jeans will be nice. You can have those down the road, or you can get one pair, or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
I just think there's freedom when we're not slaves to those those cravings.
Definitely.
Or wants, whatever that is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So hopefully, if you have things in your life that you feel like you want at the moment, hopefully that kind of gave you a little nudge to reflect, and maybe you really do need it. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
I mean,
just
it's not
give you some self-aware. Yeah.
It's not not good to do that.
It's just encouraging some positive reflection during this holiday season.
And you can look at it material. You can look at it as it's not always material that we wear. It might be that I have to go to the gym for this much every time, or I
any sort of craving, obsession.
Craving, So it's a variety of things.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. And then next time, so kind of getting off of this material gift thing, we're going to do our own fun, silly gift guide.
Yeah.
That we'll see. I don't know. It's not going to be very serious. So hopefully we'll just find
we'll have some fun gift ideas and
some silly. And yes, that's what we're planning on doing. So, yep. So definitely follow us on Instagram, go to our website. You can email us. We've got our Patreon page, releasing meditations all the time that Kelly, my mom, does. And they're really nice. Hopefully can help you center during the holiday chaos too. So,
yeah. So we look forward to next week when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram @An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.